Hello, everybody. Welcome back. It's Mo again. Well, in this lecture, we're going to be looking at what type of cables are we going to be using. There's lots of cables, as you see. Now, watch this. Take a look. What I want to show you is the following. If I go down over here, which is connections, I have different types of cables. Look at this. I have a console cable. I have a straight through cable. I have a crossover cable. Look at this. Fiber, a phone line, coaxial, serials, which are obsolete. You don't actually see them. So there's different types of cables. What do I need these cables for? How do I actually use these actual cables? How do I know what is a straight through or crossover cable? I want to focus on three main types. I mean, I'm talking about UTP, unshielded twisted pair cable. So there is a what? A straight through cable, there's a crossover cable, there is a rollover cable. Now, a straight through cable connects these similar devices. A crossover cable connects similar devices, and then the rollover cable, which is a console cable, that's how you connect directly to the router or the switch for initial configuration. So if I get myself, let's say, a laptop over here, and I want to connect to the router because I want to manage it. I just bought this device. There is no configuration. I cannot remote into it through Telnet or SSH. So I get myself connections and I get myself a console cable and I connect it from the COM port, which is most likely today you have a USB. So if I get online over here and I show you what's going on, let me just show you. And I say, I'm looking for a rollover cable. All right, just like this. And I go to images. This is a rollover cable. This goes to the console port of the router. This goes to the back of the computer. Today, the rollover cable does not have a COM port. Today, back in the days, it was two ends like this, and you had to purchase an adapter that goes from RJ45 to COM port. Today, it's most likely what? USB. This connects to the USB port on your laptop, and then this goes to the console port of what? The router, the switch, the firewall, any of that. That's a rollover cable. So a rollover cable itself is most likely, if I want to look at the pinout of it, because back in the days, I would have both ends like this. Then I would have to buy an adapter that switches from what? COM port, which is 9 pins, to an RJ45 connector. But if I look at the color layout of the rollover cable, it's this. See, it's totally, remember, when you look at an actual cable, you have 8 wires on each end. So 1 through 8, and then look at this. 1 through 8 is like the opposite. See this? This is a reverse of this kind of cable itself. So I have the total opposite. So if I look at an actual rollover cable, let's say rollover cable pinout, so you can see it better. So I want to look at a rollover cable pinout itself. I want to see how can I make my own rollover cable. It's like 1 through 8 on one side and 8 through 1 on the other side. It's totally the opposite. That's the color code of the rollover cable. Look at this. This is a good example over here. So if it's 1 through 8, it's 8 through 1 on this side. It's just the reverse. That's how you make a rollover cable. But most likely you'll be purchasing a rollover cable itself. You should always have a rollover cable for initial configuration of what? The router, the switch, the firewall. So I'm going to go ahead and put it from the COM port to where? To the console port of the router. So when I open the router and I zoom in, I should have a console port. That's how I do initial connections. And then I need a software such as what, which we'll see in the later on, which is PuTTY, and I connect directly. This is like the terminal, but in Cisco Packet Tracer. I would go to desktop, I would go to terminal, then I click OK, and that's how I could actually do initial configuration. So the only time you use a rollover cable, or it's called a console cable, is whenever you want to do initial connections to a router, a switch, a firewall, and it connects to the console. So I'm going to X out right over here and remove the cable. Now, how about if I want to hook up my laptops and desktops and server and printer to the switch? They don't connect to the router, they connect to the switch. So I have a straight through cable and a crossover cable. So when I click on the straight through cable, I'm going to press Control, click on this, and I would connect it from here to where? To the switch. And let's say port 1. And from here to the switch, which is port 2. And same thing. So a straight through cable connects these similar devices, right? These similar devices. A crossover cable connects similar devices. So look, the printer is connected to the switch. You see that? And then the router, of course, is hooked up to where? To the switch. And I'm going to use a gigabit port. So a straight through cable, when you connect these similar devices, crossover cable is similar devices. Let's say I want to connect to another router and I put a router over here. Let's say I have multiple, devices. I need more than one switch and I get a switch over here. I go to connections over here. See this? And I go to the crossover cable and from the router, gigabit zero 01, let's say to gigabit zero 01. Router interfaces are always down and then switch from here, gigabit zero 02, let's say to gigabit zero 02. So a crossover cable is for similar devices, router to router, switch to switch, PC to PC. A straight through cable is for what? Dissimilar devices. I know there's a technology called auto MDIX where you can still use a straight through cable. They're trying to get rid of the crossover. But for Cisco, for the CCNA, you have to know what a crossover and a straight through and a rollover cable. Let's say you have no clue what type of cables you want to use. Watch this, very simple. Let me X this out. I want to remove all the cables. See this? I'm just removing the cables themselves. So what I want to do is I want to go ahead, press escape to get rid of that. And when I go to connections, it says automatically choose a connection. I'm going to press the control key, then click on this. Now watch this from here to here. Oh, it's straight through, straight through. Look at this. Straight through, straight through, server to switch, straight through, printer to switch, straight through, router to switch, straight through. Okay. Router to router. Crossover, switch to switch, crossover. You see that? That's how you learn at the beginning by using the automatically choosing the cable itself, and the packet tracer will actually use the right one for you. All right, let me press escape. If I go back online and I say difference, watch this, difference between a straight through cable, right? Let's say straight through cable, straight through cable, and crossover cable. Watch this. And I go to images and it tells me, look at this. I like this one over here. It tells me the images, like what is the difference between straight through and crossover? When do I use that? And then what I would actually see is this over here. A straight through cable, the colors match. The crossover cable, like pin one goes with three, three goes with one, two with six, six with, you see that? Three with one, three with one, two with six, six with two. That's a straight through cable and a crossover cable. So if I click on this, look at this straight through. The colors are matching. Crossover, that's how you make it. So that's how you know the difference between a straight through cable and a what? A crossover cable. And all of these are what? UTP, unshielded, twisted pair cables. That's what I wanted to show you in this lecture. In our next lecture, we're going to see what is the difference between a broadcast domain, what is a collision domain, right? So we'll see you folks in our next lecture. Bye now.